The counter-terror sanction regime of the United Nations has been effective to put countries on notice that turn terrorism into a state-funded enterprise. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar said in an apparent reference to countries supporting terrorism. In his address at the meeting of the UN Security Council Counter-Terrorism Committee in Delhi, Dr. Jaishankar described terrorism as one of the gravest threats to humanity. He said despite efforts by the UN, the threat of terrorism is only growing and expanding, particularly in Asia and Africa. The UN Security Council in the past 2 decades has evolved an important architecture built primarily around the counter-terrorism sanctions regime to combat this menace. He said, this has been very effective in putting those countries on notice that have turned terrorism into a state-funded enterprise, Jaishankar said. Despite this, the threat of terrorism is only growing and expanding, particularly in Asia and Africa, as successive reports of the 1267 Sanctions Committee monitoring reports have highlighted. He added, the External Affairs Minister said the ethos of open societies is being used to attack freedom, tolerance and progress. He also spoke extensively on the use of new technologies by terror groups, saying the internet and social media platforms have turned into potent instruments in the toolkit of terrorist and militant groups. In recent years, terrorist groups, the ideological fellow travelers, particularly in open and liberal societies, and lone wolf attackers have significantly enhanced their capabilities by gaining access to these technologies, Dr. Jaishankar said. They use technology and money and most importantly, the ethos of open societies to attack freedom, tolerance and progress, he said. Jaishankar said another add-on to the existing worries for governments around the world is the use of unmanned aerial systems by terrorist groups and organized criminal networks. The possibilities of using weaponized drones for terrorist purposes against strategic infrastructure and commercial assets call for serious attention by the member states, he said. Heads of delegations of the United Nations Security Council's Counter-Terrorism Committee, CTC, called on the President of India, Mrs. Draupadi Murmu, at the Rashtrapati Bhavan. The UNSC CTC delegation was in India to attend the special meeting of the UNSC CTC held in Mumbai and Delhi. Welcoming the delegation members, the President appreciated the gesture of commencing the visit by paying tributes to the 2611 victims in Mumbai. She said that India is the world's largest democracy with one of the most open and diverse societies in the world, has been a victim of terrorism for decades. India has a national commitment to fight the evil of terrorism in all its forms and manifestations. She emphasized that zero tolerance to all acts of terror, irrespective of its motivations, should continue to be the guiding approach of the international community in shaping the global counter-terror architecture. During the meeting, Ambassador Ruchira Kamboj, permanent representative of India to the UN, in a capacity as chair of the CTC, informed the President about the working of the UNSC, CTC and its priorities. Mr. Michael Musa Adamo, President of the UN Security Council, and Foreign Minister of Gabon and External Affairs Minister of India, Dr. S. Jaishankar, also made brief interventions apprising the President of the salient aspects of the UNSC, CTC's deliberations and the way ahead as outlined in the Delhi Declaration. Among the dignitaries who attended the meeting were Ms. Charlie Ayorkor Bochwe, Foreign Minister of Ghana, Ms. Reem Ibrahim Al-Hashimi, Minister of State for International Cooperation of UAE, and Ms. Maggie Fino, Deputy Foreign Minister of Albania. Senior officials of the United Nations, including Vladimir Voronkov, Under Secretary General and United Nations Office for Counter-Terrorism, were also present on the occasion.